Welcome to the ANEW Insight Podcast, empowering and inspiring your journey to optimal health. Hosted by Dr. Supatra Tovar, clinical psychologist, registered dietitian, fitness expert, and author of Deprogram Diet Culture. Rethink your relationship with food, heal your mind, and live a diet-free life. I follow my guests' journey to optimal health, providing you with the keys to unlock your own wellness path. Tune in and evolve with us. Welcome back to the ANEW Insight Podcast. We are back for the second half of our interview with founder and CEO of Soulful Soil Farms, Tina Davis. Welcome back, Tina.
Thank you.
Tina gave us some really invaluable insight into her inspiration to move from healthcare into more healthcare, which is gardening. I cannot wait to pick her brain some more. I know we talked about your inspiration. I know we talked about you coming from healthcare, but tell us about actually starting Soulful Soil Farms. What were the challenges you faced, and how did you launch it? How did you get it on its feet?
Okay. I initially, because I'm from the city of Compton, like I said, I grew up in Richland Farms. So initially, I wanted to start where I came from. But there was just a little bit too much red tape out there for me. So I decided, okay, well, I live in Corona and I've been out here for some years now. This is home. So let me start where I live, my kids live, you know. So I started driving around, looking at vacant lots, understanding that, okay, I did my research on community gardens in the city of Corona, which there was one at a church. But again, going back to maintenance, no one maintained it. So there are no gardens in the city of Corona at the moment. So then I started doing my research about gardens in the Inland Empire. That's how I came across Music Changing Lives. And so I reached out there just to kind of be able to put me in a space so that I can, you know, do hands-on day to day while simultaneously building my own garden in the backyard. So then with regard to Corona, I started researching like city council meetings and the breakfast, you know, meetings that they do once a month. And so when I started my nonprofit, knowing that's what I wanted to do, I just really immersed myself in that world, in the nonprofit world, in anything gardening, anything agricultural, I signed up for. Classes, workshops, community events where I could be a vendor. And the more I would just kind of put myself out there, the more people were drawn to it, you know, and it just went from there. It literally just went. When we do farmers markets, we'll have like a vendor booth, an information booth, but we'll also do like an activity where kids can plant seeds. We'll have seeds set out for them. And I would have an event at one school, and then you'd have like a parent from a PTA, and she's like, oh my God, you know, can you guys do this same thing at this event? And, you know, we're having this event. I would love for you guys to, and Earth Day is coming up, and, you know, and it would go, you know, so the more we put ourselves out there and let people know what we do and started, you know, expressing the education aspect of it, people just were drawn to it. You know, I think people are really thirsty for that knowledge, you know, in a great way. I think people are understanding that our health is wealth, literally. You know, it sounds kind of cliche, but it's literally, you know, the convenience. People pay for convenience, right? So you have the drive-through McDonald's and the Burger Kings and the, you know, Carl's Jr.'s and the salt, you know, and this just is complete unhealth on every corner, you know. So being able to educate people, like I said, people, like, you don't know you're missing it until you start to hear it and experience it. And then it's like people are drawn to it, like, oh my God, I don't have a green thumb. You know, I get that a lot. You don't need a green thumb. You don't need a green thumb to grow your own food.
I have the least green thumb on the planet.
And your garden sounds like it's thriving, you know, so I think that's a big misconception. But just when we started to spread the aspect of educating the community, you know, we really want people to learn and understand why it's important and that we're here to help. And again, people were just drawn to it. So the more people we reached out to and the more spaces we put ourselves in, the more we grew.
I think that's so inspiring.
Thank you.
It's amazing what you can do when you just kind of follow your way down a rabbit hole. And really what it takes is intention and passion. And you just put yourself everywhere that was possible to be able to do this. And I think that that's what stops a lot of people. I think that that's the problem, is that they look at, you know, what you have to do to start something like that, and it becomes overwhelming.
It can be, yeah.
And so I think what you're doing is, you know, inspiring a newer generation of people who may want to go out and create their own enterprise. And that's what you've done. And so to help people, maybe to inspire them more, especially in areas like food deserts, what can people do to advocate for more healthful commerce in their own neighborhood? Say that they're already starting to garden, say that they have that happening and going on, but they're looking around their neighborhood and they want to see something different. They want to see an actual grocery store. They want to see a Whole Foods or something like that. How can they start to advocate to their government or Chamber of Commerce?
I started locally, exactly. Chamber of Commerce. I started locally. Like I said, I would sign up for the breakfast with the mayor. So the mayor of Corona, now he doesn't know me by name, I don't think, but he definitely knows me by face and maybe tattoos. But every time he sees me, he's like, you still owe me that tractor. And I'm like, I got you, you know, because I make it a point. I love people, you know, one, I love talking to people, and I have no problem putting myself in a space and talking, not at all. So you can't be afraid to face the challenges that are going to come with this, because there will be challenges. You know, you're going to get 100 no's before you get a yes, but you cannot let those 100 no's deter you. You know, I use that as fuel. I use that as fuel. So as much as I bug the Corona mayor now, you know, now he knows me, you know, so when he sees me, he can identify me. He knows me as the garden girl, you know, so it's like kind of slowly just making a name for myself. And I don't care about bugging you. I'm going to continue to bug you until, you know, we get a community garden in the city of Corona, whether we're building it or not, you know. And so persistence is definitely key. And again, just not being afraid to step out and talk to people, go to city council meetings, start locally. You know, you have your, find out who your supervisor is in your area. Ours is Karen Spiegel. I know her by name now. She knows me by face, you know, so I put myself in these environments to where they have to see me. You have to hear me. You're going to deal with me. You know, I'm going to get the point across, and I'm not going to stop until I see change.
Wow. Well, what was your biggest obstacle working in those spaces?
Probably the 100 no's. You get a lot of, well, we have Parks and Recreation who does that. There's a park that is being revitalized right now. A beautiful, beautiful, beautiful project in the city of Corona. They don't have a community garden. And I was kind of late to the ball game, you know, with that one. So that's on me. So I still put a bug in their ear. You know, I went to one of the Corona's breakfast, and the mayor was there, you know. So at the end of their presentation and awards and what have you for that event, they open the floor up, you know. So they'll open the floor up. Is there anyone who has any suggestions, questions? I got up and got in line. And so I told them, you know, I think that the city of Corona needs a community garden. I said, and we would be happy to build it. And the reaction from, I kid you not, almost everybody in that room was like, oh my God, yes, we do. Wow. Oh my God, yes, we do. It's like you don't know you need it until, you know, it's not something people think of. But once you put that bug in their ear and you start giving that information and the change, and people really start to listen and pay attention. I'm not, politics is not, you know, a space I'm very familiar with, but I am learning, like I said, I'm learning who the supervisor, you know, what district I'm in. Those things are important because you need to know who you need to reach out to, emails, phone calls. It sounds like harassment, and probably in a way it is, but you know, they're going to remember you. They're going to, it's going to be like, okay, get this girl off my line. Like whatever she's asking for, let's give her a meeting. Let's hear her out. You have to be persistent, and let them know, we have a voice, and ultimately I'm going to always use it.
Oh, absolutely. Now, give me a picture. We touched on this a little in the first half, but give me a picture of what issues and problems you're seeing come from big agriculture. Why is it so important that we empower ourselves to create these gardens?
With big agriculture, excuse me. So with big agriculture, there's the first word that pops in my head is pesticides. When you're growing on such a massive scale, you are treating crops and produce on a massive scale. So pesticides come into play, and there really is no way around that. When you're a small farmer and you're growing small, you have more control over your crops. Mm-hmm. If you've ever paid attention to the stickers on like the fruits and vegetables in the grocery stores, that POU number, if it starts with the 4, it's not organic. And to be completely honest, a lot of the produce that you see that's labeled organic is not organic. You really genuinely don't know what's being put onto the produce unless you're growing it yourself. There's like a coating that they're putting on our fruits now to make it look a certain way. I don't care about presentation. I want it to do its job. And so many of the nutrients are taken out of the produce that we're buying on the grocery stores. It's like we're buying shells of what it should be. It looks great on the outside. It's all green and huge and shiny. A lot of that fruit, those fruits and vegetables aren't supposed to look like that, And so when you authentically taste something that was grown truly organically, in your backyard, it changes. It's something switches, something clicks, and you can literally taste the difference. I think you were saying about your cucumbers or your squash. You can taste the difference. Oh, the cilantro. The cilantro, like you can literally taste the difference. And once that palate gets a taste of what it's supposed to be, it changes it for you. And you're like, I want more of that.
Yes.
I want more of that. Like my body is calling for that. I don't know what that is back there, but I know that's not what it's supposed to be,
Yes.
So it's looking the part, but it's not giving you what you need.
Yes.
So the importance of growing your own food is what's in it. You know what you're putting into your body because you grew it.
Exactly. That's what's going on top of the vegetables. But let's talk about the soil too, because the soil is a big problem. And that's where a lot of the nutrients are absorbed. And that's why certain fruits and vegetables don't have as high in nutrients. Like we used to be able to get B12 from our soil into our food. And now we can only really get it either from supplements or from the meat.
Yep.
From animal protein. But talk a little bit about what's going wrong on the soil level.
It's just really different dynamics in the environment. There's, again, pesticides play a big part. If you have, and let's say like in your produce, I can't think of the name of it, the bugs that they grow underneath the leafy greens.
Like little gnats? Or
there's a name for them, but I'm so sorry. I can't think of the name right. But if you have an infestation of any type of insect, that affects your crops, and you're growing on a massive scale, those insecticides and pesticides are not just going onto the crop, they're going into the soil. Then the soil is tilled. So it's digging deeper and deeper, and ultimately you have a land full of unhealthy soil. So soil health is something that we also teach because you want to understand the soil that you're using, that you're growing in, so that you can get the outcome that you want for your fruits and vegetables. But soil health definitely does play a big part in gardening and growing.
Yes, and monocropping as well. When they don't change out the crops and they're using the same crop on the same land for years and years and years, the soil becomes so depleted that it is so difficult. That's why they have to use, copious amounts of fertilizer. So when you look at the fertilizer and the pesticides and the runoff, this is a big reason why we have a huge dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico, is because of this runoff. So the more that we can educate people and really help them understand that you do not have to be dependent on your grocery store. No. You can, and seeds are so incredibly cheap to buy.
And they're important. A lot of times we recommend to find where they do seed exchange. Libraries do it. Yes. A lot of people don't even realize you can do seed exchange at libraries. But that is definitely, if you look at a lot of the fruits are supposed to have seeds, right? I'm sure probably everybody at this point has walked into a grocery store and has seen seedless watermelons. Like, what is that? Watermelons are supposed to have seeds. You know, right. Fruits are supposed to have seeds, pits. And the fact that there's so many being created now without seeds lets you know that I don't say they, but the control of our food is shifting, you know, and the key part in that is someone is controlling, or there are entities controlling our food.
Yes.
If we're growing food without seeds, how are we supposed to regrow that crop? We need seeds to do that. So now why are we selling fruit without seeds? That's not natural. Mm-hmm. The whole point is to grow the fruit, take the seeds, harvest. You get your seeds together, you replant, you regrow, and you keep that going. Like, seeds are one of the most essential parts of that process. So how are we selling fruit without seeds? It's literally mind-boggling to me. But soil health, getting back to what you said, yes, soil health is a very big deal. Seeds exchange, if you guys can find a seed exchange, Google is my best friend. I look for seed exchanges absolutely anywhere. And from what I found, libraries, again, are like one of the biggest and most common places where I can go do seed exchange. And so I'll save seeds of what I grow, and I'll make sure that I take some to leave, and then I'll take seeds from the library or different places.
I tell you, Tina's amazing, you guys. Let's also talk about food safety, because the big reason why I started my hydroponic gardening is everything was becoming contaminated with E. coli. There were so many recalls on so many vegetables that I was starting to freak out a little bit. And I was like, I don't know how trustworthy our agricultural system is right now. And I think a big reason, and maybe you know a little bit more about this, is because we have farms right next to animal production in a lot of areas. And that runoff is going into our farms. But do you know a little bit about the recalls, why they've been happening, what's going on with them?
Not too much. I do get the notifications. So I'm signed up with USDA and the Department of Agriculture to get those updates and news alerts, just so that I can make sure that I'm aware and so that I can pay that information forward. But because I grow my own and try to educate as many people as I can to, I'm sorry, my information on that is a little limited. I don't trust, massive produce grown massively. I don't trust what is sold in the grocery stores. I'm not like a vegan or a vegetarian, so I still have to go to the grocery store for some items. But with regard to produce, my herbs, my vegetables, my fruits, I grow it. If I can't grow it, I don't want it.
Yes, I think it's like when you look at it, the big factory farming, we're seeing just so much just runoff and pollution, difficulties, especially with the waste that comes from the big agricultural CAFOs are called. That I think is what's putting our produce at risk. So there's a lot of things that we can do that, in terms of our choices, in terms of how we spend our money, especially, that can shape and shift commerce in the United States. And I'm all about empowering that. And Tina is doing that amazingly, which I'm so proud of her. Now, back to the issue, the topic of, vegetables, fruits for health. give us a picture. So anybody who doesn't really fully understand that food is medicine, give us a little bit of a picture of how it's medicine.
Okay. So we'll start with beets. I'll speak personally. I have high blood pressure. Beets are an amazing food to combat and naturally lowers blood pressure. So I juice. I grow my beets and I juice them. I juice the leaves. I juice the actual beets, celery, vegetables and fruit that are high in water content. Good for skin. Mm-hmm. So it really depends on the ailment. I do, because of the high blood pressure, and you do have to minimize the sodium. I try to do away with salt. I love seasoning. Let me just start. Let me just say that I love my food. I don't like bland food. So to shift from the sodium, I learned how to season with herbs. So I grow rosemary, I grow sage, I grow thyme, I dry them and I use those. Parsley, cilantro, I dry my herbs and I use those for a seasoning. Then I'll use like a Mrs. Dash or maybe like a dash of like maybe sea salt just to give it a little, something. But the herbs really kind of come into play with the flavoring of the food. But beets were the first thing that, with regard to my own personal health condition, that I started to kind of play with and research. And I check my blood pressure on a regular basis. I try to juice at least 3 times a week, as best I can. And so I'm about to tell my business, my blood pressure on a regular was in like the mid 150s to like over close to always like 100.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, I mean, on a regular basis, consistently, I was stage 3.
Wow.
Yes. And now, my blood pressure is at, I think it's not even in a hypertension stage, on a regular basis. I say like 120 over, maybe like 125 on a regular basis over like 95,
Pretty
93.
good.
So I'm not all the way there yet, but I'm definitely
close.
going in the right direction. Yeah. And so discipline, is key. But when I started to realize and actually experience the results of my health shifting, like I'm not as tired as I used to be, I do a lot of, I do ginger. I put in all of my juices. Let's start there. Ginger is good for inflammation. I actually have a book that I reference when I can to give me different ideas on juices or recipes. And then at this point, I have family that actually will reach out to me with regard to, oh, I have a headache. Is there anything I can do for a headache naturally? Oh, I've been having like chest pain and I'm by no means, way, shape or form, am I a doctor, but for my family, like I will absolutely, okay, let me make you some of these shots, or let me make you some of this kind of juice, or go to the grocery store, have them check the POU numbers. If I can't bring it to them myself. But then also farmers markets.
Oh yeah.
Farmers markets are a gym in a lot of communities that people don't even realize. If you can't grow it, okay, cool. Don't buy it from the grocery store. Go to your local farmers market. 1, you're supporting those small businesses, and 2, those farmers that are at farmers markets, a lot of them grow on a smaller scale. So you're not there's not a mass production where you're dealing with insecticides and pesticides, and they know their soil health because it's more of a controlled environment. So I always, if you can't grow it yourself or don't want to grow it yourself, don't have the time to grow it yourself,
I love it.
Farmers markets.
I love it. So, we could spell it farmers market, PHAR, because they are,
yes.
Plants are medicinal. And if you guys just want, probably a brief takeaway as far as how plants are actually medicine. I would recommend you read How Not to Die by Michael Greger, Dr. Michael Greger. It's a terrible name of a book, but man, it's quite a book. And it goes through so many different types of plants, vegetables, fruits, grains, beans, why they are so helpful and how they actually help reduce or prevent disease. So food is medicine, and growing your own or going to farmers markets, knowing where it's grown is so key, and it can be so incredibly empowering.
Yes.
So Tina, tell people how they can get a hold of you, how they can work with you, or how they can get you out to where they are to help them build their own garden.
So our website is www.soulfulsoilfarms.net. It's a bit of a tongue twister. So when I was coming up with that name, I didn't think that through, but it stuck with me. We're on Instagram. That's probably our biggest platform, at soulful_soil_farms. All of our contact information is on there. Our website has our calendar. And we try to keep both sides up to date with all of our events, upcoming events. So we can always be reached there. You can DM me. Our contact number's on there. Our mailing address is on there. So I'm pretty easy to find.
Yes. And she's amazing.
Thank
Complete
you.
wealth of information. She also is a humanitarian. She is still out there doing donation drives for Eaton fire survivors. She's doing lots of community work. You got to just support this amazing, incredible human. Thank you so much, Tina, for joining us.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. I super appreciate it.
Yes. And thank you all for joining us. We're really looking forward to the next interview. Hopefully it's as good as this one. Fingers crossed. We really hope to see you next time. And thank you. Thanks for tuning into the ANEW Insight Podcast. Please remember, the content shared on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. You can find us anywhere podcasts are streaming, on YouTube at my.anew.insight and at anew-insight.com under the ANEW Insight Podcast tab. And follow us on our socials at my.anew.insight on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more updates. Tune in next time and evolve with us.